مرحبا واهلا وسهلا فيكم. احنا الان في مكان حدث لتغطيه المؤتمر الصحفي اللي ستقوم به كواليشن فور عبدي بعد ما صدر اليوم قرار وحكم بتبرئه الشرطي الذي قام باعتقال عبدي وادى الى وفاته في هذاك الوقت. والحكومه والجاج او القاضي اقر انه الشرطي في هذاك الوقت لم يقم باي شيء مخطئ، فقررت الكواليشن ان يقوموا بهذا الاعتصام وعمل مؤتمر صحفي اليوم المفروض يبدا قريبا.
Words to my creator, our creator, to what Sheffield. Thank you for bringing these people together. Help them to be that strong wind of change. Everyone here has shown their courage by being here, by standing up, by saying no more. Help them be of good heart and of good mind, and help them to work the kinds of change that needs to happen. Kachimigwich, 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 Kachimigwich. Thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing.
Next up, to speak on behalf of the coalition, please help me in welcoming Marئية Ahmed.
Check. We're really honored and touched to see you all here and on short notice. Thank you for joining us. Written some words to share with you. Hope you take these to heart. Today we received the devastating news of an acquittal in a trial that held the power to course correct in a system that desperately needed correction. Today, nothing short of catastrophic. Today, we have no demands for the system. And the system did not fail us. It was not built for us. In the last 20 years, more than 460 people have died in encounters with police in Canada. And in this time, only 2 were convicted, 2 officers. This ruling officially places police officers above the law and essentially gives them unhindered permission and powers, the abuse of power. This verdict is taking us down a slippery slope of international embarrassment. What good remains in our democracy if police remain above the law? For years, our coalition has negotiated, discussed, politely urged those in authority to make changes. For years, we have said that there is a need for legislative reform. Today, we have understood a very hard truth. It's not a legislation that allowed a non-conviction today. It was made by a human being upholding a system that inherently is rooted in colonial legacies and slavery. Today, the crack of the whip stung us, but it will never kill us. Today, there was no conviction, but conviction remains firmly in our hearts. Without a complete overhaul of the current so-called justice system, a wound as deep as this is impossible to repair. Today represents the crossing of a threshold that questions our civility. Today we heard a verdict that has not only done irreparable harm to a family, to our community, and to the memory of a man undeserving of death at the hands of the state, but harm as well to what little semblance of trust remained between law enforcement and our city's most vulnerable. Today was a demonstration and a stark reminder that this so-called justice system continues to fail to protect a certain segment of the population, and in particular, Black, Indigenous, and racialized people. Much deeper change is needed, and it begins with you, the people. You are the ones that hold the balance of power. You are the ones that can help us write our future together. How many more lives need to be lost? How many more nights must our mothers endure, sleepless nights? How many more Greg Ritchies do we need to see die? How many more Anthonys do we need to see leave this world? How many more Abdulrahman Abdis do we need to see in this fate? When will our lives matter? Thank you.
Thank you, Farhia. Next up, we have Lawrence Greenspan speak on behalf of the family.
First thing I got to tell you is it's been a long time since university that I was involved in a demonstration or a protest or a gathering and it was using one of these things. Puts me back a few years. That said, it's not lost on me that something that my father always tried to teach me growing up. My father was a survivor of the Holocaust. And he always told me that it's far better to, when dealing with a difficult situation, it's far better to get up on a chair than to dig a hole for the person next to you. So it's very comforting that I have to step up to talk to you today about what has happened. I've been asked by the family first to thank you. Thank you to the coalition. Thank you to the Black Hub. Thank you to the leaders of the Black community. Thank you to all of you for having been in front of 55 Hilda year after year and for being here today. Not only by being here today, but the support that you have given to the family is immeasurable. They have drawn on it and it's enabled them to fight back. It's enabled them to keep their dignity, and they have done that in a way that is really to be respected. I have to tell you that the decision was devastating, truly devastating for the family today. It was not easy to be in that courtroom for Jama. It was not easy for the other members of the family who were in contact with us by phone. And the decision of the court was extremely difficult, both to hear and then to realize its impact afterwards. Abdi came to this country from a country where there was civil war. He came here because he believed that Canada was a place of freedom and safety. And before July 24th, 2016, he had never had a scratch on him. Everything changed that day. I can tell you that it was about 30 years ago, just up that way at Parliament Hill, we had the same kind of gathering when Vincent Gardner had been killed at the hands of the Ottawa police. And 30 years ago, when we spoke, it was with a view towards what is going to change. Change has to happen, and it's going to happen, and what can we do to make it happen? And I can tell you that in that 30 years, very little has changed. Very little has changed. Now, the criminal justice system, it was not expected that the criminal justice system would be able to make the changes that are needed. It's not expected that the criminal justice system would recognize the value of Abdirahman Abdi's life, both for his family, for himself, and for this community. None of that was expected of the criminal justice system, at least not from where I stood, because the criminal justice system is not set up to do that. As Fariha mentioned moments ago, it's not a system which is designed to try and repair the injustice that is on a daily basis experienced by our communities, by the racialized people in our communities, by the Aboriginal people in our communities, and by Black people in our community. The criminal justice system is a contest between the state and the police officer. And one should look at this decision that happened today. It was not all bad. I say that because the judge said in no uncertain terms that it was likely that the officer inflicted the blows that contributed to the death of Abdirahman. He couldn't find, and I don't apologize for him at all, he couldn't find the standard in the criminal justice system is beyond a reasonable doubt. He couldn't find with certainty that that had taken place. And for that reason, he acquitted. But the fight is not over. The fight is not over. There is a civil action that we've launched some time ago. We had to wait for the criminal process to be completed before we go forward. And that civil action will go forward. We have sued the Ottawa Police Services Board, the Chief of Police, and the two officers Weir and Monsian. I can tell you that that action is a way for us to ensure that the changes that need to be made begin to happen. The civil action is something which is, in my belief, a way that we can make things better. It cannot be that we have now had not one, not two, but three police chiefs in a row have all said the same thing. They've all said the majority of our calls involve people who have mental health issues. One police chief after another in the city has said the same thing. And yet there is no additional training for officers as to how to deal with people who have mental health challenges. There is no additional training for them, teaching them how to de-escalate the situation so that it doesn't become an Abdirahman Abdi tragedy as has happened here. There is no such training. There's a mental health unit that has, I think, 2 officers. Wonderful, wonderful service. I've dealt with them. It's a terrific service. But they're woefully underfunded. They don't have the resources. They don't have the person power to be able to help the people that on a daily basis, men and women police officers are dealing with every day. Every day. And it's not that this problem is unknown. I saw a wonderful placard. Thank you. Mental illness is not a crime. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about an acknowledgement by the chiefs of police in this city. In fact, chiefs of police across the country acknowledge that their officers are going into situations on a daily basis, and these officers don't have the ability to de-escalate. There's no reason why we can't get, as has been done in a number of cities across North America, there's no reason why we can't have social workers, mental health workers triaging the 911 calls when they come in. There's no reason why we can't have social workers and people with mental health training to deal with many of the calls that the Ottawa police are called in for. There's no reason for that, and every reason for that to happen. So unlike 30 years ago when we called for change, we call again for change, but this time we have to ensure that your support and your involvement continues so that the coalition and other groups can make that change happen. We have a police chief who I believe is at least willing to listen, but we've got to make it more than that. We've got to push him to act, because I don't want to be talking another 5 years, or I don't think I'll be around in 30, but I don't want to be talking up here 5 or 10 years from now about another Abdirahman Abdi or about another Vincent Gardner. It's one is too many.
Thank you, Lawrence, for those words and for being with the family alongside the coalition. Next up, I want to call Dahabo Ahmed Omar to give a few remarks.
I had a lot that I was going to say. I think the JFA team can vouch to how many things I said today. And, you know, we came here with our legs. We came here with our hands. We came here with our eyes. We came here with our hearts. We can tell you that we are tired of walking. We are tired of trying to grapple with our hands the things that we cannot grapple with anymore. We can tell you that we are tired of seeing injustices after injustices. We are tired. We're not calling on the systems to do anything for us today. We don't need you, clearly. We have tried over and over and over again. We have tried speaking to institutions. We have tried drafting reports. We have tried changing legislation. We have tried calling out policies. We've tried. What else do you need from us? Because we've got nothing to give you at this point. We have literally nothing left. You ask us to fight. You ask us to do this. We can't do it. I look at everyone that's on this side who has struggled every single day. These individuals have not slept. These individuals have lost time with their families. Some of these individuals have lost everything. Some of these individuals have lost their son. Some of these individuals have lost their brother. Imagine not being able to see your family member today. Just imagine that for a moment. We are all privileged. privileged to be walking on this earth and not feeling the pain that the Abdulrahman family feels today. Every echo in my voice is a glimpse of their pain. It's a glimpse of their pain. Abdulrahman Abdi didn't die on that day. He died every single moment that every single Black person, an Indigenous person, has died, and there was no accountability. That's when Abdulrahman Abdi died. We have a responsibility, each and every one of you that came out in the middle of the pandemic to stand with us. You have a responsibility. Do not go home. If you came here today and you think it ends here today, then you shouldn't have come here today, because this is where it starts. You have a responsibility. You have a duty. You now have a burden that is on your shoulders, and you must carry it, because those of us that have been carrying it are tired. And so I ask you from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of the souls of the individuals that are on this side, who have worked diligently for 4.5 years, not a day did we take a break, because there's no break when you're seeking justice, is there? These individuals didn't take a break. So I ask you not to break. I ask you to stand with us and for us every day, moving from today. You have an opportunity. I'm giving you homework. You take that and you do what you must. No racist police. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I ask for just a single moment of your time. My name is Ifra Youssef. I am the incoming chair of the Justice for Abdulrahman Coalition. For 4.5 months, we have been led by our trailblazer, Merئiة Ahmed, who I thank every day for getting us to where we are. It is with great honor to take on her role as she passes the torch to me, the next generation. I'll keep this short, and for those who will be staying with us for the rest of the program, I will be continuing with a speech. But before we begin with that, I wanted to give a few instructions. The program for the rest of the night does not end here. We will be marching and blocking an intersection. We will start by blocking Laurier and Elgin right behind us. We will take a moment to remember the life of our brother, Abdulrahman Abdi, who did not get justice today. We'll take a few moments at that intersection and we will make our way to the Parliament Hill. Over there, we will make our voices heard to the highest level of government in this country. That's where we will end our night, and I will be making further comments and with the speech. So to end this, I wanted to give some housekeeping issues, or not issues, but rather housekeeping notes. We do have medics on standby while we will be marching and blocking. Please identify yourselves if you can in the crowd by raising your hand. I think they're in the back.
They have bread and different grass. We have medics on standby. If you need medical attention, we kindly ask to save medics and the rest of us to kneel down so that the medics can identify those who need attention. We will also have sanitization. We have jugs of hand sanitizer and some masks for those who need it. I would like to ask the main blocker to start the lead to the intersection where we will walk in and take a few moments of silence for Abdulrahman. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think so. جزاك الله خير. Thank you for coming. الله يبارك فيك. الحمد لله. دكتور محمد جمال محمد عادي President of the Mail جديد. محمد طبعا تسوي عملية. جزاكم الله خير. ان شاء الله
طبعا السلام عليكم.
Just the bang.
So 2 are live and one. And each are live.
طبعا يا جماعة قصة عبد الرحمن عبدي هي قصة انشهرت في أوتوا بعد ما كان شاب اسمه عبد الرحمن عبدي قادم أصلا من الصومال عمره 36 سنة. كان في قهوة هون، تم الاتصال بالشرطة وإجت الشرطة لأسباب يعني تقدر ترجعوا، كان بيحكوا إنه في مشاكل في الهاي، فإجت الشرطة حاولت تعتقله، وفي عملية الاعتقال تم ضربه من قبل الشرطة وبالتالي توفى. لكن اليوم صدر الحكم بعد 4 سنوات من 2016، هذا الحكي في جولاي. اليوم بعد 4 سنوات صدر الحكم بتبرئة الشرطي، واليوم زي ما انتم شايفين they blocking الستريت.
No peace! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
No justice, no peace. 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 No
You're right. Hey, how you doing?
So, how are you? Good. Can you say 2 words about this? I want somebody to speak in Arabic. Good? Okay. I tried that.
Black lives, they matter here. 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 Black lives, they matter here.
زي ما انتم سامعين وراي المظاهرة ستستمر إلى أن تصل إلى البرلمان. سيتحرك بعد قليل إلى البرلمان، ولكن البث سيطول، لذلك أنا سأبتعد شوي حورجيكم فقط وين إحنا نقع الآن. أمام مبنى بلدية أوتوا. المحكمة صارت في هذا المكان، وإحنا قريبين جدا من ال human rights الهيومن رايتس مومنت اللي هو بتجتمعوا فيه من اجل حقوق الانسان في مدينه اوتوا. هذا المكان يقع امام مبنى البلديه. كان المفروض اصلا انهم يبداوا المسيره امام مبنى بلديه امام المنزل تبعه، ولكن غيروا في اخر لحظه. الان بنشوف احنا الشرطه اجت بحاولوا يفتحوا الشارع اعتقد، او لا اوكي بحاولوا يعملوا ريروت للسيارات. ايوه بيحاولوا يعملوا ريروت للسيارات بسبب الاغلاق. طبعا هم ما حيقدروا يمنعوهم، اعتقد انه عندهم تصريح، ولكن بشكل عام هذا ما يحدث الان. زي ما حكوا، المشكله هي ليست فقط في شخص، ولكن هذا الشخص هو انسان بالنسبه لغيره. هو عنده عائله، عنده اهل، عنده ام، عنده زوجه، او عنده اطفال، فهو انسان. وعائلته اللي فقدته اكيد فقدت حبيب وصديق وعزيز وابن واب وزوج. المشكله انها تتكرر في كثير من الدول بشكل عام، وهذه الدول للاسف لم تتخذ اجراءات صارمه ضد العنصريه من قبل الشرطه. هذا الموضوع شفناه في جورج فلويد اللي صارت في امريكا. رايناه قبل ذلك مع عبدي. الشرطه تحاول صراحه، ولكن يوجد بعض المشاكل في الريسيزم او العنصريه من قبل الشرطه. هذا الهيومن رايتس مومنتوم اللي حكيت لكم عنه. ستنتقل، انا سنستمر معهم في المسير، واذا شفنا في شيء مهم او خطابات مهمه سننقلها لكم في بث مباشر. نراكم والسلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته.